So I thought it would be interesting to have a look at the Transatlantic Way race, which started yesterday in Dublin in Ireland. Transatlantic Way race is 1,582 miles going around the coast of Ireland. Races go from Dublin up to Londonderry, where they pick up the mandated parkour, the green route we can see here, and they follow that round the Transatlantic Way coastline to finish in Cork. They can make their own way between Dublin and Londonderry. Transatlantic Way is organised by Adrian O'Sullivan. This is the website. Adrian is a well-renowned ultra-endurance cyclist himself, having competed in the Trans Am race, Transcontinental. He decided to set this up himself and inflict a bit of pain upon some other racers. Now, the race is quite interesting, actually, because it's shorter than most other ultra-endurance races going at the moment at 1,582 miles. And really, actually, that gives the race a different element and creates some excitement to it that other races don't have. The shorter distance of this race means that the pace is a lot harder. So people who are racing to win are going to stop a lot less, sleep is going to be a lot less and things like that. Because of the shorter duration overall, you can really push the envelope a lot further. Now, the other thing that I love about this race is the fact that it's hard. I had a friend who's racing text me this morning to say what they said was, "It's so hard, James," and those are their words, and really that does just sum up how this race is. It's wet, it's windy, and it's not pleasant. It's up and down, as you can see from the elevation data down here. It's not friendly. This race is really for the tough. So if you want to have a bit more of a look on Instagram, they're posting up a bunch of photos, and you can see just how wet and horrible it is on there. I'd recommend going and following there. Back to the track, and I thought it'd be interesting to have a look at how the races unfolded after the first kind of 400-ish miles for the leaders. So we're looking around, I think, 30-ish hours now. So obviously racers made their own way to the start. So we get this replay going on here. We can see everyone leaving Dublin and heading over to Londonderry. Really not much happened in the beginning. The pack spread out a bit as some people were making better pace. So if we slow this down, it's worth pointing out this lady here, Paula. Now, last year in the race, she came, let's have a quick look. I think we can look it up on here. Results from last year. So Paula, first female, came third in the race. That's serious, She's good, really, really good. It'd be interesting to watch her race over a longer duration. Often, women can do really, really well over a longer duration. So I think, she's got a really, really good potential for the future. Bernard Poole won last year with Jack Peterson in second and others. Adrian raced his own race. There was a bit of an issue over Bernard's win last year. He missed out part of the course, and that's why you can see a time penalty against him. Even with that, he still did win. But Adrian made that decision, and fair enough with that. Let's hope he just takes the whole route this year. So back to the tracker. One of the interesting things this year is you've also got a guy called Bjorn Lennard. Now, he's famous for his win on the race you can't really win, Paris-Brest-Paris. And he took that by himself back in 2015. In 2016 last year, he raced Transcontinental. Had some issues, but still finished in a really, really good position. He's seriously good. Now, with him and Bernard racing, they're both really, really good guys. I've raced with them both in Transcontinental a couple of times now. And, they're serious. Bernard's had some issues in Transcontinental with heat and things like that, but he does really well in this colder and wet race. So the fight between them this year is going to be serious. And, Paul is going to be up behind them chasing, and there's another chap, Luke Allen, there as well. So the interesting thing to point out is you've got the main group of people here, and nearly everyone is going to stop and sleep on the first night. But as I said earlier on, because of this shorter race, these top racers, who are really going to push the envelope, don't stop. Now, when you start going kind of 40 hours without sleep and just cycling, it gets tough, I can tell you from experience. So what we see here is Paula has stopped to sleep. She takes about a 5-hour sleep and loses about 100 miles worth of distance to Bjorn, Bernard and Luke. But that distance that she loses isn't really due to her being slower or wasting time. It is simply due to her stopping to sleep. Now, whether she can regain that in the race later because she's going to be a bit stronger or not, I'm not sure. 100 miles is kind of, you know, six hours worth. It's going to be tough to come back unless these start to suffer. So, as we see, it's now 3 a.m. and they've not stopped yet. Everyone else, you know, more or less stopped. You have some people still moving, but you know, most people have stopped to sleep. So as we keep going through the night, you can see the media car chasing them. That was from the photos we saw on Instagram. You know, really not stopping. Some people are getting up early, getting going again. But, you know, this is serious. And it's going to be really, really tough. It's kind of full gas, this. You know, don't stop the first night. They're going to have to stop the second night, you know, for a bit of sleep. And the race keeps going on from here. We can see these three kind of, you know, switching turns a bit. Bjorn does take the lead and does start to pull away from Bernard. There's not really, you know, a reason. He's just a bit faster. He's moving a bit faster, maybe wasting a bit less time. I think, you know, we're going to see a really, really good ride from Bjorn, and Bernard is not going to give it up easily. There's going to be a fight. You know, these people who haven't slept have taken an advantage on the road, and we have the second group here pulling into kind of, you know, the third group here. Still there. There's going to be a good race between these people who've slept on the first night. But, you know, this gap is going to be difficult to close down. They are going to feel a bit more tired from it, but really the speed that they're going to lose isn't going to be substantial. So, you know, pulling this kind of 100 miles that we can see back is going to be difficult. I would expect this gap to stay pretty constant. We might see it fall a bit as they do take a bit of sleep, and these maybe take a bit less sleep because they took sleep on the first night. They don't need so much on the second. But with some real hitters, it's going to be an interesting race. And you know, there's a good amount of women in the race this year, which is really, really nice to see. And we're going to see a good race going on between them. One point to make is if we you know, zoom back in on Paula and we go to her full history, we can now scroll down and see the sleep that she took last night. So you can see, you know, 6 hours worth of sleep. That is substantial, and she's going to be feeling pretty good for that. Whereas if we go to Bjorn and look at him, we can see here no sleep. He, you know, took maybe a long half-an-hour break for, you know, might be an hour there, half an hour, might be a quick nap, or it might just be a good feed, because this would be about 8 a.m. in the morning. And so he's, you know, spent a lot of energy. It's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. All right. If you've got any questions, just let me know and we can, you know, get them answered. Cheers.